Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start off by asking you a question. What if the secret to great fertility was great tits? I am, of course, talking about birds. So you might be wondering why I'm talking about great tits, okay? Well, let me tell you a little story, okay? So I am a nutrition geek. I know all of the research. I read all of the papers. I keep up with all of the science, including sometimes in birds, okay? Now, what has this got to do with fertility? Okay, so it turns out that great tits naturally eat caterpillars. Scientists have done this research showing that great tits prefer to eat colourful caterpillars. Now, where does the colour come from in the caterpillars? When they eat shrubs and leaves rich in nutrients called carotenoids. Okay, so great tits see these carotenoid-rich caterpillars. They eat the carotenoid-rich caterpillars and they absorb the carotenoids. Okay, and that makes the great tits feathers appear more colourful, okay? Now, it turns out that in nature, more colour is seen as more attractive, okay? Whether you're a great tit, a peacock, or a parrot. But the key question is, what about humans, okay? Now, I'm going to show you this slide where we see three faces, okay? It's the same lady in the same pose, but under three different circumstances. Circumstance A, circumstance B, and circumstance C. Now, anybody want to tell me which face they think is more attractive, A, B, or C? C? Okay, now I didn't plan to answer in the audience, okay? But it turns out A is a suntan, B is normal complexion, and C is actually carotenoid-rich consumption, okay? So carotenoids can actually improve your skin health, okay? Which actually makes you more attractive. Now, you told me that. I didn't tell you. You told me that C was more attractive. Now, it turns out the theory is that when humans consume more carotenoids, it makes them more attractive, and that more carotenoid consumption is good for reproductive health. But what does the science say? Well, first of all, carotenoids are beneficial, but not essential nutrients, okay? And some examples are like beta-carotene and lutein and so on. But really interestingly, carotenoids are found in follicular tissue and also ovarian tissue in females, and in males, carotenoids are found in seminal fluid, which carries the semen. Now, the presence of carotenoids in these tissues suggests carotenoids may have a function in improving reproductive health. But what does the science say? The science says that in females, higher carotenoid consumption and higher carotenoid status is associated with higher chance of pregnancy, shorter time to pregnancy, and higher chance of live birth. And that's why we're all here, right? To improve live birth rates. And in males, higher sperm concentration, improved fertilization rate, and improved IVF outcome. So not bad for carotenoids, okay? Now, at this point, I think I should introduce myself, okay? So my name is Dr. Conor Kerley. I'm a doctor of nutrition, award-winning nutrition researcher. I'm also a leading dietitian. And my journey starts when I was 15, and my left arm and leg stopped working completely, and I went on to be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And this really sparked my interest in nutrition and health. So I went to Trinity College, I studied human nutrition and dietetics, and then I went to UCD and completed my clinical doctorate. I worked in America, in Australia, and I stand before you now as a global fertility expert. I'm a member of the European Fertility Society and the European Society for Human Reproduction and Embryology. So just to tell you, on the internet, we've got Google, right? We all know about Google. You know, you type in a search term, it's a search engine, tells you all of the results. But we also have something called PubMed, okay? Now, PubMed is like a scientific search engine, okay? So you type in a term, and it will tell you all of the scientific papers related to that term. So imagine typing into PubMed diet and fertility, nutrition and fertility, supplement and fertility, vitamin and fertility, and so on. And then imagine repeating it for PCOS and endometriosis and sperm and semen and varicocele and all of these issues which affect fertility. There would literally be hundreds of thousands of papers, right? And nobody would ever do this because it'd be crazy. Wrong. I have done this. I've collected every single piece of research ever done, read it, collected it. I have it. And that's demonstrating my expertise. But you guys, you'll always remember me as the guy who started his talk by saying great tits. Okay. So earlier on we talked about carotenoids, and one thing I didn't mention is some carotenoids inside the human body are actually converted into vitamin A. So what about vitamin A? Is that important, and should we take it? And why the hell have I got a picture of a polar bear on my slide? Well, it turns out that eating polar bear livers will kill you, okay? Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I won a major international research award, which funded me to go to Australia and present my research over there in Melbourne. While I was in Melbourne, I was invited to the famous institute in Tasmania called the Menzies Institute, which is in Hobart, the capital city. So I went there, I presented my research, and I hung around for a few days. And then I did a walking tour of the city because, I'm cultural like that. So I did this walking tour of Hobart, and they told me that a lot of expeditions to the Antarctic actually leave from Hobart because it's so close to the South Pole. So one famous expedition was hit by really bad weather, which slowed down the expedition. And then the slowing of the expedition led to food shortages. And what the leaders of the crew did was they told the crew members to start killing and eating polar bears. Okay? And guess what happened? Those who ate the polar bears and the polar bear livers, they died of what? Vitamin A toxicity. What has that got to do with fertility? Well, it turns out that vitamin A is what we call teratogenic. Okay? So it harms the unborn babies. And official guidelines from public health bodies around the world, including the HSE here in Ireland and the NHS, advise ladies who are pregnant or planning or trying to become pregnant to avoid foods rich in vitamin A like liver, and also supplements containing vitamin A like cod liver oil, standard multivitamins, or any fertility supplement that has vitamin A. Do not take it, okay? So avoid excess vitamin A. But what about other vitamins like vitamin C and E? Okay, so it turns out multiple fertility issues and infertility in general is linked to something called oxidative stress. Now, I always tell my patients, if you've got an apple and you take a bite out of the apple, after a few minutes it starts to go brown, that's the oxygen damaging the apple. And the same process happens inside the body where you get the cellular damage caused by consuming oxygen, okay? Now, it turns out that antioxidants like vitamin C and E can prevent this damage. So what happens if you take high-dose vitamin C and vitamin E? Well, based on this study, it said their negative effects, their use should be avoided. So if anybody's taking a vitamin supplement for fertility and it contains high-dose vitamin E and C or either, I do not recommend that because it can lead to damage in males and females. So what about other vitamins? There are some vitamins which are key to think about. Anybody want to shout out any? Anybody know of any? D? Well, we'll start off alphabetically as such. What about vitamin B9? Anyone ever heard of vitamin B9? Also called folate or folic acid. Now, what's the difference? Well, folate is the natural form of folic acid found in foods, whereas folic acid is the form found in synthetic supplements and also fortified foods. Now, it turns out this is really important for females, okay? I hope we all know that. But it's really important for males too, especially on a fertility journey. But what's really important is some people are missing are defects in the enzymes which activate folic acid into its activated form called 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. And this is particularly true if you have a fertility issue. So what I recommend doing is taking a product which contains 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate already instead of plain vitamin B9. So vitamin B12, absolutely crucial. But what's really important, vitamin B12 is found in lots of foods, particularly animal foods and fortified foods. And it's really, really complicated, the absorption. So some people eat lots of animal foods and they still have issues with vitamin B12. So it's quite an important one, and it's really, really important for fertility. Turns out the specific form of vitamin B12 to help fertility issues is called methylcobalamin. And finally, we've got vitamin D. Anybody know where we get vitamin D? The sun, okay, but it's Ireland, okay? So we all need to be very conscious of our vitamin D year round, but particularly in the winter. Vitamin D really, really important for fertility journeys. Now, have you ever heard you are what you eat? Okay, well, I guess I must eat fertility nutrition experts for breakfast. But for real, turns out that the oocyte or the egg is bathed in a fluid called the follicular fluid. Now, the follicular fluid is really important, but it turns out we can actually change the composition of the follicular fluid, which bathes the developing egg, by what we consume in the diet and supplements. Okay, we can actually change it. And for males, we can actually change the seminal fluid, which carries the semen, by what supplements we consume as well. Now, this is a scientific review done very recently. It said most fertility supplements have a large number of ingredients, okay? So this is true and this is fine, but frequently at doses below the minimally effective dose. Now, I'm going to ask you, is dose important? Would you agree it is important? I'll give you an example. Now, if somebody is dehydrated, is water important? What about 1 milliliter of water? Not going to do anything, is it? What about 100 gallons of water? It'll kill them. Okay, so dose is important. And a lot of products don't have the right doses. A lot of products don't have the right nutrients either, but some don't even have the right doses. Now, as I told you at the start, my background is as a dietitian, so I'm a nutrition expert, okay? And I believe in the power of food. But it turns out that some nutrients are not available from the diet. They're impossible to get from the diet, okay? Now, I also told you at the start that I've literally reviewed every single piece of scientific research ever done on fertility and nutrition, ever, okay? So what I did was I identified 27 key nutrients. We talked about 3 of them, okay? Vitamin B9, folic acid, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. Anybody want to guess any other nutrients which are definitely important based on the science? What is it? Coenzyme Q10, yes. Anybody else? Or will we just skip ahead? I'm going to show you the answers, okay? So if you're going to take any pictures, get a picture of this slide, okay? So these are the nutrients, okay? Antioxidants, like alpha-lipoic acid, okay? Anybody heard of alpha-lipoic acid? Some have, some haven't. Carotenoids, green tea extract, N-acetylcysteine or NAC, NAC, then coenzyme Q10, piperine, then we've got standard vitamins, but also your activated folic acid, some key minerals, and then some key other nutrients, we call them, like arginine, carnitine, N-acetylcarnitine, choline, myoinositol, omega-3, and probiotics, okay, specific probiotics. Now, the question is, well, why are they important or how are they important, okay? This is slide number 2 to take a picture of. So in males, including males who may be overweight or suffering from varicocele or who may have thyroid issues, these exact nutrients have been shown to increase sperm quality, including improved sperm count, sperm motility, sperm mobility, and sperm morphology, as well as decreasing DNA fragmentation in the sperm, and also leading to increased pregnancy rates in the female partner of the male. So in other words, if the male has an issue and the male takes these nutrients, the female who may not have an issue and may not need to take these nutrients actually has a higher rate of getting pregnant. Okay, so I think that's pretty impressive. But at the same time, in females, okay, including females who are overweight, including females who may have endometriosis or have fibroids or have polycystic ovarian syndrome or primary ovarian insufficiency, or thyroid issues, or females who are undergoing assisted reproductive technologies like IVF. These exact nutrients that I just showed you have been shown to improve egg quality, improve fertilization of that egg, improve the resultant embryo quality, lead to improved pregnancy rates, which is great, but at the same time, reducing risk of multiple births like twins and triplets, which can be risky, and also decreasing risk of miscarriage. Okay. Now there's one key piece that we haven't spoken about, and get the cameras back out, because these nutrients have actually been shown to increase birth rates. Okay. Remember, we're not here to have better sperm or better eggs. We're here to increase chances of having healthy babies. It's really difficult research to do, really complicated research, but the research has been done and it's shown that it is possible with specific nutrients. Now, I told you at the start that I'm a multi-award-winning nutrition researcher, and my nutrition company, Fertility Phix, has won global awards. So when I attended this show last year, I realized how big of a problem fertility is, not just in Ireland, but globally, and how suboptimal some of the products on the market are. So I decided to make my own product. Now, I showed you the 27 nutrients. Which of them do you think that I thought was going to put into the product? Well, the answer is all of them, okay? All 27. So I thought this was going to be easy. I spoke to some guys who are chemists, formulation experts, and they said, Conor, it's absolutely impossible. It's nothing like this has ever been done before. It cannot be done. Okay? These are the 27 nutrients again, and they said it was impossible. Okay? But I don't take no for an answer. So this is my little son, Kaelin. He turned 7 months on Friday. Okay? But I really trust his opinion. Okay? So I asked Kaelin, I said, Kaelin, is there anyone that can do this? And I told him, put up his hand and tell me who could do it. He put up his hand and said, Daddy. But enter Fertility Phix, the world's first and only product to contain those exact 27 nutrients in the optimal doses and the optimal formats. A couple of months ago, I was on a business event similar to Dragon's Den. We all know the concept, you got these really rich guys who are trying to invest in companies that are going to be really, really successful. And afterwards, this guy came up, he listened to my pitch and he said, Conor, you're an unbelievable scientist, but you're a really bad businessman. And I was really disappointed. I was like, why? Like, what do you mean? And he said, look, what you've done is develop probably the world's best fertility product ever. Okay. What's going to happen is people are going to take it for a couple of months, and then they'll become pregnant, and then they'll stop taking it. So you've got a really bad business model. But I'm not looking to exploit anybody. I'm simply looking to help based on the best science available right now. So Fertility Phix, the world's most comprehensive, most specific, and most scientific fertility product anywhere, ever. Backed by the best science. 27 nutrients, once again, to improve sperm quality, egg quality, pregnancy rate, and crucially, birth rates. So I just have a couple of quick case studies to mention about. Now, the product has only launched this weekend, but these are guys who had contacted me about 11 months ago when we were planning this product. So what we did was we give them kind of the formula without flavorings and without packaging and so on. We give them all the active ingredients as such. So Sarah is a lady in her late 30s. She's 39. She'd suffered several miscarriages, mostly due, we think, to her endometriosis. Sarah is now 7 months pregnant. And this is why I do what I do. Now, we have John as another guy, and I'll leave it at this last case study. But John had a low sperm count with a high DNA fragmentation rate. And his partner is now 5 months pregnant with a little girl. Sarah doesn't know what she's having yet, but everything looks good for a healthy birth in about 2 months' time. Mary Kate has a similar story, but just in the sake of time, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to finish with some questions for you guys. So what is the best fertility supplement for male, including males with varicocele or thyroid issues or overweight? Of course, we've already spoken about it. What is the best fertility product for females, even if they've got PCOS or fibroids or endometriosis or primary ovarian insufficiency or thyroid issues? What is the best product for anyone undergoing an artificial reproductive technique, such as IVF? What's the best product to help prevent miscarriage? And I want to hear everybody shouting out, what is the best fertility supplement in the world? No, too shy. I think we've got time at the end for a couple of questions. So please shout it out if anybody has any questions or comments. Also, I will just mention, we're right at the back of the stand here, just by coincidence. So please come and say hello. Please come with any questions. We've got free taste of Fertility Phix. If I say so, it's a lot tastier than you might imagine. We've also got free dark chocolate nuts, which is a fairly healthy fertility snack. We've also got free chats and banter, of course. And then we've got some private groups for anybody undergoing fertility issues, whether you're male, female, have fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, and we've got some discounts today as well. So I'm just going to pop it back and open the floor for any comments or questions from anybody. You're all just either too bamboozled or too amazed. Yep, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is, like, obviously someone can have an issue with their gut or, over consuming some nutrients. We had some people come to us at the solar taking maybe 20 supplements or something like this. It's far too much, especially when you have one product containing everything. When it comes to absorption, so first of all, ours is in a powdered format. So it's already, quite absorbable in your GI tract because it's so accessible as such. And then what we do is we use the highest grade of the highest quality nutrients that we identified. So it's not like we're saying, okay, folic acid is important, let's just put in some folic acid. We use the 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate and we replicate that across all of the nutrients that are in there. And of course, if someone has a complex absorption issue, that's a separate discussion. But in terms of absorption, absolutely. The last thing we'll say is for anybody who's using a product like ours, I do recommend to consume it with food because some of the nutrients are what we call fat soluble. So it's better consumed with some food in your tummy. And even better, again, if you can space it out, like put it into a glass and have half at breakfast, maybe half at lunch or half at dinner, something like that. The same way we're told with antibiotics to have one in the morning, one in the evening. It's the exact same with nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you take it? Hex is the same.
Yeah. So the question just is it the same dose? What can I speak about the dose basically of each ingredient? So basically what we've done is identify the doses that work and use those exact doses. So we mimic the doses that work. Now, a lot of companies will know something works, but use a suboptimal dose, too little. And you can see from that review that a lot of supplements had a lot of ingredients, but a lot of the time the ingredients were too low. So that's kind of unethical, I would say. But we go the opposite way. We put in the highest amount of the best nutrients in the best formats. So all of the doses replicate. Now, I had some people asking me, and maybe they're prescribed really high dose omega-3 or coenzyme Q10, but I don't agree with that approach. I prefer to go with a moderate dose proven by the science in combination with other nutrients. So it's not just saying it's all about coenzyme Q10 or all about omega-3. It's all about the combination of those 27 nutrients together, but in the right doses, absolutely. No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, thankfully, myself and my wife did not have any fertility issues, but I can only imagine the heartache that's in this room and with anybody globally who has had issues. So yesterday at the stand, we heard some harrowing stories, and earlier today, and people that are spending a fortune on 30, 40 supplements and sometimes under medical supervision. And that's absolutely insane. So it's one product that's easy. If anybody's on a fertility journey in 2025 where you're working and maybe have other kids and life goes on, you don't need that stress of, oh, it's time to take this and it's time to take that. It's one product. It's all in there. So it's designed for convenience, and it's designed to be for men and for women and for anyone undergoing a fertility issue as treatment. So, hi. Yeah, really good question. So this lady's just asking, what's the difference between taking this product and taking all the ingredients separately, or just taking lots of different products in general? This is a really good question. So when you produce one product, companies will add in fillers and binders and so on. Now, if you multiply 27, that becomes more of an issue than just one product, which generally isn't an issue. The other thing is, when we looked at other products that were available here last year and on the internet globally, like, we couldn't find anything that was anywhere close to this. A lot of products had maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 27 ingredients, but they certainly didn't come anywhere close to having all of them. And if they did, no, none of them had all of them, but if they had a lot of them, they had a lot of rubbish added in as well. So that can be an issue, because we know some fertility issues are related to toxicities of, plastics and things like this as well. Yeah, it is a big problem. Yeah, so this lady's just saying, like, a lot of physicians and consultants, even in the fertility space, still recommend people take a lot of products. And sometimes they have a lot of fillers and binders and so on, and may not be the right products and may not be the right doses. So it is an issue. And that's why, like, we literally have just launched this product, but we already have lined up to speak to fertility experts in countries all over the world online, because they're saying, Conor, like, we're telling our patients to go out and buy specific brands of, 1 or 2 of these ingredients, whereas you're telling us they can buy all in one, and there's none of that added in, and it's all the best qualities, best doses, and so on. So, like, clinics are excited about this, patients are excited about this, and it's all just about that convenience, about the dosage, about the lack of binders and so on. Yeah, sorry, just behind you first. Sorry, go for it. So I didn't have time to dwell on all nutrients, but if anybody wants, come up and have a chat afterwards, or check out the website or contact us. The other thing we do is I'm contactable 24/7. So anybody can reach out to me directly, not to a bot, not to a secretary. If you have any specific medical queries, I always answer them personally. And that's pretty important when you're undergoing something important like a fertility journey, right? So does it contain omega-3? Yes. Our product does contain omega-3 as well. So you don't need to take omega-3 separately. It's in there. As I say, come at me with these questions, because it's in there. You ask me, is it in there? If it's not in there, it's because it's not important. If it's important, it's in there. And that's it. I can't say it any more clear. The omegas are in there. The alpha lipoic acid's in there. The B12 is in there. The folic activated folate. It's all in there. Sorry, lady, you were next. Yeah, another really good question. So it's 1 sachet daily. Again, we keep it nice and simple. It's 1 sachet. The sachet is 9.4 grams. We use it as a sachet because if we put those into capsules, we're talking about 10 capsules daily, and that's not so nice. So it's available as a powder. As I mentioned earlier, if possible, I would recommend trying to have, half the sachet in the morning and maybe half in the evening. But you can just simply put into a bottle of water and have half in the morning and half in the evening, something like that. And it just means you absorb it better. Like, if you're actually going to buy it and if you're actually going to take it, you might as well get the actual best absorption. And the way, it's like Shane saying, should we consume like 10 kilograms of protein today and none for the rest of the year? No, we need to eat it every day. But similarly with vitamins and some of these fertility nutrients, for improved absorption, just having it, once in the morning and once in the evening would be the absolute optimal. Having it all at once is excellent, but you would get like maybe 5% extra if you split the doses out. Have we any more questions, guys? Yeah. Yeah, another really good question. So what's the recommended duration of taking the supplements? So we recommend at least 3 months. And the reason for that is because it takes roughly 3 months for a sperm cycle to be complete. So in other words, any males in the audience, your sperm you have now is dictated by what you did 3 months ago. And what you do today will dictate your sperm in 3 months' time. And similarly for ladies, eggs take about 3 months to produce. So your eggs today are based on what you did 3 months ago. And what you do today will dictate how your eggs are in 3 months' time. So 3 months, we say minimum. Now, obviously, some people listening and some people who may listen to this later on and may have been on like a really complex fertility journey. So like 3 months may not always be enough. But we can't say that this will 100% lead to pregnancy in every situation. We can say is it's the absolute best product that's going to give you the absolute best chance from a nutrition angle. Yeah. Yeah, really good question again. So this lady's just asking, is there a maximum time? And the answer is no. So as a nutrition product company in Ireland, within Europe, we're under strict regulations that we can't put in doses of nutrients which are too high. So if you were to take this product every day for the rest of your life, it certainly wouldn't cause any untoward effects. In saying that, like it might not be something we'd recommend for someone in their 80s who's not trying for their baby, but for fertility, this is the product. We leave it there. If anyone has any other questions, pop over, grab my phone number, grab our email address, and come over for some chocolate nuts, some chats, some bands, and join our groups as well. And thank you so much for coming. Spread the word loud.